and welcome back to Can We Talk with Jewel podcast, proudly sponsored by fundraisingcup.org Ministries. Here we are, the show where we bring real voices, real stories, and real solutions to the table. Today, I'm joined by someone who wears many hats, a founder, educator, advocate, and cybersecurity brainiac. Sir Jesse Davis is with us in the building. Jesse is the founder of CyberRST, co-founder of Ambition Atlas, a cybersecurity workforce student specialist at Eastern New Mexico University, and an adjunct professor, guys. If your resume isn't sweating yet, it should be. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you, ma'am, for having me.
It's an honor to have you here with us, Jesse. We want to talk to you about coming from service to cyber. One of the first things that stands out about your profile was your advocacy for veterans' post-service careers. We at fundraisingcup.org heavily support veterans. Can you tell us where that began and why cybersecurity became part of that mission?
Well, I will retire soon from the military. I had to get out medically last year, unfortunately, off of full-time or active duty, right? It was full-time military. And I didn't know what I was going to do when I... Thank you, man. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got out. And unfortunately, a lot of service members are facing what I face on a daily basis. And I wanted to continue my service in one way, shape, or form. I was working out as a government employee up until April, and you know, with everything that's gone on with the government, I lost my job. So I sat for literally hours a day. I was putting in 14, 16 plus hour days trying to find a job, and I got on at Starbucks, you know, in the meantime, and I still was not getting a job, and I ultimately fell into an IT help desk position, which I'm very grateful for. But it's still not in true cybersecurity. So I wanted to fix this. I started, you know, noticing this problem. The problem is I've got a master's, got a top secret clearance. You know, I went and got the certifications that the industry wants me to do. I've done what society asked me to do, but I still don't have a job. Can you please explain to me why? So I thought to myself, it's time somebody fixes that. So I started doing my research. And the thing that's lacking is hands-on an apprenticeship, you know, moving them into a residency program. The same concept. The medical industry does it. You know, mechanics do it. Architects do it. Why are we not doing it in the IT realm? There's 500,000 jobs open, and they need to be filled.
Yeah, makes sense. So, now you launched two companies in the same month, CyberRST and Ambition Atlas, both in August of 2025. I have to ask, why two? Why then? And are they separate missions or complementary to each other?
They're going to be, I'm aiming to have them complementary, but another thing that's lacking in the industry is career guidance, right? The American educational system has failed students. And what I'm trying to do with Ambition Atlas is I have years of knowledge. I was a recruiter for the Army for 10 years. I've taught college for the last, 5, 6 years. I've been on grant programs. I've worked on grant programs, taught cybersecurity certifications. And a lot of students don't even know that you can get a full write-off your ACT, SAT score. And I'm trying to take that knowledge along with my IT knowledge and help people get a career path.
Okay.
But I am going to tie the IT and cyber realm into that, helping give them career guidance.
Oh, okay. Okay. And can you tell us a little bit, curious minds want to know, about inside the classroom? So you're teaching at ENMU as an adjunct professor. What's that like, balancing industry and academia?
It's been an interesting take, but it's taught me, there's, as they say, there's several sides to one story, right? Learning and knowing the academia background has helped me a lot. It's taught me the politics within the college and university realm. I've been teaching not just there, but actually at my peak, I was teaching at 7 colleges, community colleges and universities at one point before, both the cybersecurity industry and now the Department of Education have been crushed, right? Because the market's been flooded with certs, but again, nothing has been produced out of it. So it has taught me how to, not have multiple personalities, right? Some would joke, but how to be able to deal with different pieces of the industry. And I'm trying to bring those together, right? The college university scene is its own thing. It's almost its own world, right? So is the private sector and the military and defense contracting. They're all their own little niche, their own little community. But here's the thing, they do bleed over. They bleed over constantly, right? So, Cornell, for example, which I'm trying to strike a deal up with, the university has a contracted, or an office to do military contracting, right? To do research for the military. Out of the military, out of NASA, that's where a lot of your technology comes from, right? And our modern everyday luxuries, internet, guess where it came from? The military. It actually started during the Vietnam War. You would have never known that, right? So,
No, yeah.
it's because of the military that we have it today, actually.
Wow. So your skill list, I must say, is very extensive. You got project management, talent management, Microsoft, PowerPoint, nurse recruitment. Oh my goodness, the list goes on and on. It's a fascinating mix, but our viewers want to know how does it all come together and work for you now?
Post-military, it's definitely prepared me in a way to deal with an ever-changing workforce. AI has changed, it's changed how the IT realm is doing things, right? And one of the areas that has been highly, highly affected is computer scientists, right? A lot of layoffs there. A lot of layoffs.
Yes.
But here's the thing, a lot of people are not seeing what's right in front of them. Computer scientists could be ethical hackers, right? They've already done the code. All you gotta do is have them change hats, right? The term used to be black hat, white hat, gray hat, right? White hat's an ethical hacker, so on and so forth. Now they just switch to teams. Purple team, red team, blue team, right? Purple team does both offensive, defensive. Red team does offensive. Blue team does defensive. And what it's taught me is how to be able to blend in. I know how to talk the talk and walk the walk. Why spend so much time trying to become a nurse practitioner when you can go to University of Western Florida and get it done in a year? Explain to me why colleges and universities are still cramming down these scams down students' throat. I myself was $88,000 in student loan debt, and I finally got it paid off last year. I got my second master's.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a huge anchor, right?
Yeah.
Everybody talks about slavery and the things going on with it. They're offering 50-year mortgages. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not fall into that trap. That is modern. We are in modern day slavery. Go ahead.
I know. I'm actually talking about that on my latest podcast. It's so funny you brought that up. Same exact thoughts. Yes.
If I can show people how to avoid debt because I've been through it. I've been laid off. I slept in my car. I've been fired successfully. Okay. Right. I joke about that, but part of life is learning lessons, and unfortunately it used to be no different than the tech industry. Hey, go get a tech job. You sit steady, Freddy. You don't have to worry. And these people are loyalists to these companies. The lady that helped found Copilot for Microsoft got laid off. Okay, she was there for 2.5, almost 3 decades. So much for loyalty, right?
Yeah.
That's just an example.
Definitely something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happening, just across different companies. Dedicated employees are just being given the boot left and right, and It's definitely a wake-up call, as you mentioned, to say the least. So my next question for you is regarding advice for transitioning veterans and career changers that may be listening right now and thinking, maybe cyber is for me, but I don't know where to start. What would you tell them?
So what I'm going to do with my program, and what I'm going to tell them is they do not need to, they have to have the certification, and yes, you're going to need the degree. The industry wants that. But now an entry-level job in cyber requires 1 to 3 years of experience. No one else is offering it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am. They need to have the hands-on experience. It's going to be a controlled environment, but they need the hands-on experience to be able to get a job. Cyber is a very well-paying career, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't get experience, they're not going to have a job. So what I tell every member, whether you are retiring or you're just doing your time and getting out, you have to prepare ahead of time. The uniform's going to come off, and I went through depression. I know exactly what the service members are going through, what their spouses are going through. My grandmother was a military spouse. My mom was a military spouse. You know, my dad did 21 years, and you know, a cop, right? He was able to move around as a state police officer. No, he was in the military. And then my wife is a military spouse, right? That takes a toll when you go from having your steady Freddy first and 15th paycheck, medical, dental, and eye paid for. You know, you're getting money for food every month from the military, right? Your rent, food, utilities, everything's all covered, and boom, you got to go out here to the civilian market where they don't care about you, right? And you're just another notch on a company's belt. They want the veteran title, like they want your title, because you're a tax break.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add. Yep.
Yeah. And it's got to stop. And what I want to do is make sure that I help them get a job. I'm doing my due diligence. It's been 4 to 6 meetings every single day since I filed my business license back in May. But I had to do obviously some months of research, and then it's just been nonstop networking of trying to figure out who I need to talk to, where I need to go. And quantum, now we've got quantum on the horizon, which is something I'm bringing in. AI needs to be taught. Not just, hey, use ChatGPT. No, you need to know, if you're in cyber, you need to know how AI works. All AI is a program. China is successfully using AI to hack our systems. So please tell me why it's not being taught, right? They talk about having this nice little certification, but why when I sat with a major the main cert players, the certification industry, why do they not have hands-on? Please explain to me why, right? And when I sat and talked to them, to me, it just comes out to pure greed. They have their little niche of the market. You know, what is CompTIA famous for? What is EC Council famous for? And what is IC Squared? That doesn't include some of the other major players in the market. But what are they famous for? If you can't name it off the top of your head, by this point, you can go down the list. The main ones are Security Plus, Linux Plus, Certified Ethical Hacker, and CISP. Right? Beyond that, what are they doing to reinvigorate themselves? What are they doing to change the game? Things are changing. The ways of just being able to throw out your resume and hope you're going to get an interview, it's not going to happen anymore. You have to be a wolf. If not, you're going to fall and be a sheep.
Spot on. Spot on. So with that said, I know if first of all, I want to give you your flowers now. What you're doing is not just career development, it's identity rebuilding, community building, and national resilience all wrapped up in one. So I want to thank you so much for being here with us today, Jesse.
Thank you, ma'am.
And with that, I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Good. I was going to say,
cut you off.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off, ma'am. I know for a fact that the amount of suicides coming out, there's roughly about 200,000 people that get out of the military every year.
Yeah.
And think about this. You know, we're losing about 20,000 veterans every year.
Mhm.
That's my hometown. Is killing themselves every year because they can't go back into society, can be for a number of reasons, right? But some of the
Yeah.
biggest ones, they've lost their camaraderie, they've lost their way, they don't have a purpose. Is the biggest thing, they don't have a purpose. A lot of veterans fall into drugs and alcohol because they feel like they've lost their way. And what I
Mhm.
want to do, because I know I've been there, unfortunately. I was not in the drugs, but you know, I normally I'd have a glass of wine, I'd be fine. But when
Mhm.
you start turning to alcohol for your feelings, it's not a good day, right? And you
No.
can get lost in it real fast. And I have a lot, you know, I've had friends get in trouble with the law, or worse, they're not around anymore, right? And it is
Yeah.
something. It's a very easy fix. Give these guys and gals a purpose, and that's what I want to do.
Wow. Yeah, I imagine that definitely would make a difference in many of their lives. I know some of our supporters and dear friends to the podcast are veterans, and we just had a show done by another dear friend of our podcast, Mr. Lillard, who was briefly staying in a homeless shelter, and he was met with a lot of veterans that were sharing their stories, very similar to what you described, and how they've turned to drugs and alcohol and landed themselves there. So I definitely advocate and hear what you're saying, and hope that your work can change the lives of many of these individuals.
I believe it can. I have met with Dr. Keith Castile out of Washington, D.C., who is in 28 years himself, and I'm partnering with his business to help not only get them trained, but we're going to help them with mental health counseling as they get out. We're going to make sure they know how to prepare to go into the workforce. And
Excellent.
with his business, we can also help them maintain the leadership foundational purposes that they have, right? That purpose, that drive, that determination and resiliency to take those leadership skills they've learned in the military and apply it into the workforce, right? Something that's starting to lack in the workforce today is leadership, that drive, that push, that determination. People
Hmm.
don't know resiliency anymore, right? And you have to have a thick
So
skin
true.
if you're going to be in the
Yeah,
corporate world.
that is so understated. But definitely, thick skin, I would say, is definitely required for these young people coming out of universities and expecting things to be handed to them. It's a tough beast out there, and I wish you guys the best.
Well, we have started an Indiegogo page, and we're trying
Hmm.
to get our seed funding off the ground. And my goal is
Okay.
to get as many veterans hired as possible. I've reached out to different talent acquisition agencies, you know, recruiting agencies that have ties to the major defense contractors, the financial sector. I'm trying to get in every nook and cranny that I can. There was a reason why I was a top dog as a recruiter. I didn't take no for an answer, and you're going to face no every single day. If you want to go into business, be prepared to face the word no, right? Um,
Yes. Yes.
you know, I couldn't score a date for my life in high school, right? Even
Hmm.
first starting college, here's the thing, I could talk all day, but you have to be able to convey a message. The question is, how are you going to do it? You have to know going in that you're going to face no. And trust me, I've gotten some no's. I've been told I'm crazy. I talked to some serious players in the defense contracting agency, Microsoft executives, along with the financial sector. You know, we're talking executives. I've reached out to them on LinkedIn. Guess what? They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. And that's why we're trying to raise
Hmm.
money. We want to get this off the ground, and the reason a lot of companies fail is there's two reasons. They don't have enough capital to get through the first 3 years, And the other piece is that they go out and they rack up a huge amount of debt, right?
Yeah.
I can give you an example. Chegg, ACI Learning, right? They were the best when it came to academia, but they got themselves into a ton of debt. And what's the first thing that they do? Instead of paying off the debt they've got, they cut their personnel, right? And this is why you are right. I can understand the younger generations thinking of that they just deserve something because they went to college, but how were they raised, right? So that's society's fault. Parents not being parents. My children, they're not getting anything handed to them. If they want something, they're going to have to earn it because that's the way I was raised, right? And I mean that. I didn't get a $750,000 home by sitting there, and staring at the wall hoping something was going to happen. I work 7 days a week right now. I work 4 jobs, and they don't make excuses. I know, here's the thing, you're going to have failure on something every day, right? I'm married.
Yeah.
I get chewed out all the time because I failed at something, but I'm still married, so I'm successful.
Yeah.
Right? Welcome to being married. That's how you need to view a career. Right? It's gonna have its highs, its lows, it's gonna have its twists, its turns, left, right, up, downs, however you want to put it. But the difference is that, you can get hit and keep getting hit and let life bring you down to your knees and it'll keep you there, or you can get up and fight. You only have, as a man, what is the average age span now? We're 78 years? We went up 1 whole year in the United States? Or did it go down? I don't know. Depends on which reports you look at. But let's say at 78 is what I've got. I'm halfway done with life, give or take. So what am I going to do with the next 39 years of my life? I've given it up to everybody else. The military, teach college, I've given it to someone else. And that's why I try to start this business. I'm like, I'm having a drive and a passion for something. And what that is that I want to fix lives. And this isn't about the money for me. Everybody says I have a good idea. But the other side of the coin, they said, you're crazy, or what makes you different? What makes me different than any other cybersecurity boot camp, if you want to call it that, or any certification training boot camp, is that I'm going to build an environment where they can jump in and they actually get to play, like bringing back almost that kid side of you. You're going to get in and we call it a sandbox. It's a controlled environment, but they're going to tear stuff up. That's the whole point of it. How do you know something works if you can't, you have to break it and learn how to fix it. And most people, the theoretical is great. You read a book, but how are you going to apply it? Most guys, I'm sorry, that's not how they learn. You can't just read a book. They need to apply it. You want to know, how does this work? They want to tinker with it.
Yes.
Right? They want to take it apart.
Absolutely. And I'm totally on the same page with you. I'm more visual and hands-on myself, so I can sit there and listen to you for hours, but until I'm thrown into, a hot situation and having to figure out how to dig my way out, that's the best way for me to learn fast and definitely pass on the knowledge.
Yeah.
So absolutely, Jesse. And if there's any other tidbit or piece of information you want to share with our audience before closing out this podcast, please feel free to share now.
What I would like to say is please get the word around about our Indiegogo. I want to make this dream come true. I've got a team who right now everybody's working for free right now. We're building something that hasn't been done before. And just to give you an idea on closing, I've gone through all the major softwares that are used on a day-to-day basis for cybersecurity. And they're like, our stuff wasn't designed to do that. And I said, well, maybe it's time. It is time to change it. Cybersecurity is broken. We can't keep having these hacks. There's a lot of money involved. Our national security is involved. And quantum's around the corner, and that's what we want to change. We're going to be the first to bring quantum to the market here in the training aspects for workforce development. We're going to be the first to bring in nanotechnology, and we're changing the way AI is ran as well for training purposes. And that's something that I want everybody to look forward to. So again, please reach out to us at cyberrst.com. You can reach me personally on LinkedIn. My name is Jesse Davis. You can reach out to our CyberRST page on LinkedIn as well. And like I said, get the word around. Pass around our Indiegogo page. I'll have it posted up this weekend. I'm having it ready, and I truly want to help my brothers and sisters. And one of the things near and dear to my heart. I don't have my mom anymore. I lost her last year. But military spouses are a major piece. Thank you, man. Military spouses are a major key piece to this. They're what keep us going while we're in the service for those long hours and those days gone. And we, at our team, CyberST, we want to help military spouses get hired. A lot of companies neglect them for training purposes. I want to make sure they get trained, and I'm going to help them get a job, right? They go with their spouse everywhere. There's plenty of cyber jobs that they can work from home, and just their version of transferring is pick up their laptop and go to the next duty station with their spouse. And I want to help them get that training. I know I can. So that's where my heart's at. Is there's plenty of funds available. I can show them how to get the funds and how to utilize those funds to get the training that they need, to get their degree, to get their certifications, to get that hands-on approach, to do a residency, no different than a doctor, right? It's the same concept, and I can help them do that. I've done my research before I really kicked off this company. I did my research before, I started trying to network and get this built. I know exactly where their funds are, and like I said, I was a recruiter for 10 years. I've been in the college scene for 3/4 of a decade now, both on the teaching aspect and the teaching front and the grant work. I can show them what they need to do and be that person on the scenes, giving them that nudge. It's like, this is what you got to do. This is what you're going to do. You're going to do it this way. And sometimes people need that nudge. Others, maybe not so much. But sometimes you need a good swift kick, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'll leave you with, I'm here to help veterans, their spouses. I want to get them a career that they're happy about and a chance to continue the mission and protect this country, both from criminals and our foreign adversaries. They're a key piece of keeping things going. It doesn't take much to bring a country down. You know what it takes? The stroke of a keyboard, right? Look at the hacking of Alabama. If you don't know what that's about, please look it up. The major pipeline that was hacked in, here in the southeast where I'm near. They shut down a major oil pipeline that we use on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I'll leave you with is do your research.
Well, guys, that's today's episode. If you want to connect with Jesse, please, as he mentioned, look him up on LinkedIn. And if you're a veteran navigating your next chapter, this conversation was for you. So until next time, keep asking questions, keep building, and keep showing up for yourselves, guys. We are here to promote you, and we are so honored and happy to have Mr. Davis with us today, offering you guys another way out of this pickle of a system we got going on and measures to learn from. So definitely reach out to him. If you can't find him, connect with us. We look forward to working with him. That's the ministry, of course, at a later date in coordinating something to help the community at large. So again, thank you so much, Jesse Davis, for coming on our show today. And again, it was an honor.
Thank you for having me, man.
And until we meet again, guys, talk to you soon. Bye.